She was the most photographed woman in the world. Hailed as the "People's Princess," Diana's charm, compassion, and beauty captivated millions. But in the early hours of August 31, 1997, the fairy tale ended in tragedy. A high-speed crash in a dark Paris tunnel would silence her voice forever, or so it seemed. Nearly 3 decades later, one question refuses to rest: did Diana truly die by accident, or was there something more sinister behind the crash in the Pont de l'Alma tunnel? The official story is well known. But the shadows tell a different tale. August 30, 1997. Paris, France. It was supposed to be a night of indulgence and intimacy, the last stop in a romantic summer escape for Diana, Princess of Wales, and her companion, Dodi Fayed. The couple had been spotted in the French Riviera, Sardinia, and finally Paris, pursued relentlessly by paparazzi. That Saturday, they arrived at the Ritz hotel, owned by Dodi's father, billionaire Mohammed Al Fayed. The hotel's luxurious imperial suite had been prepared for them, but the princess, feeling exposed, opted to remain in the less conspicuous presidential suite. Already, something felt off. Outside, photographers crowded the entrance, their lenses ready, engines running. Inside, Diana reportedly expressed frustration and fatigue. She hadn't been eating well. She had complained of being watched. Still, the evening proceeded. At around 7 p.m., Diana and Dodi left the hotel briefly, hoping to dine at Chez Benoit, a discreet Michelin-starred restaurant. But the press followed. They returned quickly to the Ritz, abandoning the reservation. Dodi then made a last-minute decision, to dine in the hotel's private salon. They ordered Dover sole, vegetable tempura, and mushroom risotto. Unbeknownst to Diana, at that very moment, a decoy plan was forming. To escape the paparazzi waiting at the front entrance, a new plan was enacted. A decoy car was pulled up to the front of the Ritz while Diana and Dodi slipped out the rear, exiting into Rue Cambon. Their driver that night was Henri Paul, the hotel's acting security head, not a professional chauffeur. He had been seen earlier sipping drinks at the hotel's bar. But he insisted he was fine to drive. The black Mercedes-Benz W140, an armored sedan, pulled into the quiet street. At 12:23 a.m., Diana entered the rear right seat. Dodi sat beside her. In the front passenger seat was Trevor Rees-Jones, Dodi's bodyguard. Henri Paul drove. As the car pulled away, a handful of paparazzi took off in pursuit. 2 motorcycles, 1 moped, and at least 1 car reportedly followed them. What happened next would never be seen on any CCTV camera. The Mercedes sped along the embankments of the Seine, approaching the Pont de l'Alma underpass. Witnesses claimed the vehicle was traveling at speeds over 100 km per hour, 60 miles per hour. Moments before entering the tunnel, a bright white flash, like a camera, was reported by one witness. Inside the tunnel, the car swerved. Whether it clipped a mysterious white Fiat Uno remains debated. But what is certain is this: the Mercedes struck the 13th pillar head-on. The impact was catastrophic. Dodi was killed instantly. Henri Paul died moments later. Trevor Rees-Jones survived, though barely. Diana was alive, barely conscious, her body slumped in the back seat, chest compressed by the wreckage. And then, time began to slow. 12:26 a.m. The first emergency call is logged. Passers-by report the crash. 12:30 a.m. Paramedics arrive within minutes, but face an unusual delay entering the vehicle. The rear of the Mercedes is a cage of twisted metal. Diana is trapped, but breathing. According to one firefighter, she opened her eyes. She whispered, "Oh my God," then lapsed into unconsciousness. Why was she not rushed to the nearest hospital immediately? Instead, emergency responders followed French medical protocol, stabilize at the scene, then transport. But the delay proved fatal. Diana was removed from the wreckage at 1 a.m., 34 minutes after the crash. At 1:18 a.m., the ambulance began moving. Slowly. So slowly that pedestrians walking nearby could keep pace. The ambulance was reportedly ordered to stop twice to further stabilize Diana. She arrived at the Piti-Salpêtrière hospital at 2:06 a.m. Doctors worked on Diana for nearly 2 hours. Her heart had been displaced to the right side of her chest by the force of the impact. Massive internal bleeding complicated every attempt to revive her. Despite repeated efforts, her body gave out. At 4 a.m., Princess Diana was pronounced dead. There were no public statements at first. Just whispers. One of the attending doctors later described the silence in the room as total and devastating. By 6 a.m., the world began to learn what had happened. By noon, disbelief had turned to global mourning. But inside that tunnel, and inside that ambulance, time had slowed in ways that still feel inexplicable. In the hours and days following the crash, dozens of witnesses came forward. Some claimed to see a motorbike speeding away. Others mentioned the elusive white Fiat. Yet others described a blinding flash just before impact. Photographers who arrived at the scene snapped photos, some graphic, some haunting. But inconsistencies plagued the timeline. One firefighter claimed Diana was not unconscious when he reached her. He claimed she spoke. But that contradicted official records. The driver, Henri Paul, was declared drunk. But CCTV footage shows him walking steadily. Toxicology results were challenged by experts, noting discrepancies in enzyme levels and a lack of vomit or erratic behavior. More questions than answers. We may never know Diana's final conscious thoughts. But if the reports are to be believed, if she did, in fact, whisper, "Oh my God," it speaks volumes. Was it fear? Recognition? Pain? Trevor Rees-Jones, the only survivor, suffered severe facial trauma and memory loss. He later stated that he could recall little of the final minutes before the crash. Whether this is true or a safety mechanism of the brain is uncertain. Mohammed Al-Fayed believed Diana and Dodi were engaged. That they were to announce it. Some say she was pregnant. No conclusive evidence has ever proven either claim. But the truth is often more delicate than proof. In the end, it is not just that Diana died. It is how she died. The slowness of the ambulance. The failure of CCTV. The confusing toxicology. The absence of seatbelts. The missing Fiat. The ever-present press. It is the image of a woman, once so alive, fading in the back of a wrecked limousine under the city of lights. And it is the certainty we all share that some stories are too strange to be explained entirely by chance. Princess Diana spent her final hours pursued. Hunted, even. Her last moments were not quiet ones. They were desperate, chaotic, and shrouded in uncertainty. They say she died from internal injuries. But to those who loved her, and to the world that watched, it feels like something else bled out that night, too. Trust. Innocence. Hope. It wasn't just a car crash. It was a rupture in the storybook narrative. A chapter torn from history, rewritten with shadows and whispers. And so we are left with images, the black Mercedes crumpled against concrete. A bouquet left in the tunnel. A note scrawled in a child's hand, "We miss you, Diana." Time has moved on. But questions remain parked beneath that bridge in Paris, quiet, like Diana's final breath. Forever unanswered. End credits. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more faceless deep dives into crime, conspiracy, and history's darkest turns. What do you believe happened in those final hours? Comment below.